So now we know how we can use the Taiko shell, get the code out of the Taiko shell, put it in a JavaScript file, and use --observe to run the JavaScript. Let's go through the hello world.js again. What are we doing here is we are taking all these functions and are actually importing it from Taiko. So we're defining all these from Taiko and then using them one by one. So for open browser, we are using open browser. Goto, we are using goto. Write is to write on the element which is focused, and then click on the element. String is we have already written. Now let's try to understand what the code is. As I already told you, these are just the imports. Now we put everything in the async function. So all the code that we are going to write would be asynchronous. Async function in Node.js is used to run asynchronous functions. Now within this code we have try, catch, and finally. As we know, try and catch are for identifying errors. So when I'll run this code, if there is an error, we will catch the error on the console. So it shouldn't stop working, it should give us a line. And finally, we'll close the browser. If I didn't put the catch or finally here, the execution would just stop whenever it encounters an error. This way, we are handling the errors so that it's more intuitive, and even if the error is there, we would simply close the browser and that error would be recorded on our console. Now finally, as we all know, even if it catches the error, no matter what happens, finally would be ran at the end. So first it will go to the try block, run all of these commands. If it encounters error in any of these, the execution will go to the console, it would print the error, and then finally it will close the browser. In case we don't find the error, it would run all the 4 steps and then close the browser. Let's run it again, and I would like you to notice something really cool which Taiko does. So npx taiko hello world.js -- observe to observe. Now if you look closely here, it opens the browsers, goes to the URL, and then waits, then types the command, then waits for it to show, and then clicks it. If you noticed, I never mentioned any waits here. Even then, the Taiko itself waits for the page to be loaded. So unlike Selenium, where you have to explicitly or implicitly provide waits in the code, all the Taiko code by default has implicit waits. Meaning, if you put it for navigation until its timeout is achieved, it would wait for the element. So which means it would, without me needing to write the code to wait on a particular web page, Taiko implicitly would wait until its timeout is reached and try to find the elements. This is why Taiko is called an automation tool for testers, where with as less code as possible, you'll try to create more and more workflows. Now the next step. Apart from all these implicit wait and other features, Taiko also comes with certain more really cool features, which I'll tell you now. One of them is await REPL. Now, REPL, we could say that it's the shell which executes. So when I do npx taiko, this actually is the REPL. If you want to know what REPL is, It's actually read eval print loop, meaning whatever we write would be evaluated and it would be executed there. So how can we use REPL in Taiko, especially in the code? And how can we use it to benefit us? Well, let's go through the API. And let me put API REPL, and it tells me if I use this, I can actually use the REPL format. Now, what exactly does this mean? I'll put it here, and this is what I want to add actually. The doc mentioned here is a bit incorrect. I'll tell you how. So let's say I wrote my web page automation till this point. After that, I want to perform something, but the site is not ready. So what I will do is I'll create this block of code until my page is ready, and then I can simply put await.repl. And actually, this is not the correct syntax, so I'll write the correct syntax. Please note this is somehow the syntax mentioned in the official Taiko documentation, and here is a bit different, which doesn't work, at least for me. And what works for me is this, and I would suggest you to try my way, and then maybe you could use other stuff it's mentioned. I would strongly recommend you trying this because the other one just doesn't work for me. So I will import REPL as we imported all the other functions, but this time I would use Taiko / recorder, and I'll save it. So I imported REPL from Taiko recorder, and then I'm calling it at the end. My use case is I've written already the code till here, and now when this website is ready, I would try to write more. How can I do this? I would simply go npx taiko hyphen load, and then the name of my JavaScript. Okay. Oh, it says it's not a function. My bad. Because I put it as a function, so I need to put it as an import. This semicolon is very important, guys. So now, after importing, I would run the command npx taiko --load hello world.js, and I would run it. Notice that I'm using the command load here. And now as you can see, it opens, goes through the entire page, and we are here. Let me put it aside. And now we get back to the Taiko shell, meaning I can now go ahead and do whatever I want as if how I started initially. This is really good because now I have created half of my code, and for the rest of my code I can simply go ahead from here. So let me see what I can do. How about I take the current URL? So I would take the current URL and it gives me the current URL, which is this. Now I can also go back. So let me check back. The function doesn't exist. Oh, go back. So I'll go pi, go back. It tells me it's because it's API go back, my bad. It says me I just need to type go back, so I'll do that. Go back as a function. And as you can see, the browser actually went back. Now, if I want to do a code dot, bad, bad. Okay, it's dot code. You'll get the code for the two steps that I performed. So now rather than I can either copy the entire async function and put behind the one that I wrote here, but this is very this is not this is quite redundant and not very optimal. So I could simply cut these two, and because now the REPL is done, maybe I could comment it and put these here, and then we don't need this. So now I can simply exit this. All right, and now I can run npx taiko hello world.js. Oh, and I need to put hyphen observe so you guys can see, but in case you don't want to see it, you don't need to put hyphen observe. So now it opens. DuckDuckGo waits implicitly, as I mentioned earlier. Clicks a button, check the URL, and we'll go back. And we have a perfect log on our console.